Brad, I would say in. I guess I still got 529 on this. Hey, I bet you we just we got Dave then.
All kinds of time then, right?
Exactly.
Mr. Sarda.
Hey, Dave.
Hello, everybody.
They're live.
We are live on YouTube, waiting for potentially one or two more members to join us for a minute or so here. We do have enough for a quorum.
Okay. Hey folks, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Brooke.
Steve Peer just called my office. He is in transit right now. He's on the road and he is unable to make a connection. So he asks that Mr. Winandy proceed as chairman tonight.
It sounds like pretty clear direction. So let's get going.
Yes, Mr. Chairman has spoken. All right, I will go ahead and call our Planning Commission meeting to order. First roll of business is roll call, please.
Healy.
Healy, present.
Healy present. Erickson.
Erickson present.
Erickson present. Specht.
Back here.
Specht present. Winandy, or excuse me, Syme.
I'm here.
ETJ member Welch.
Here.
City Commission Representative Sarda.
Sarda here.
And Vice Chairman Winandy.
Winandy here.
Okay.
And for the record, we also have ETJ member Welch with us.
Okay.
All right, next item is consideration of the December 14, 2020 meeting minutes, which were included in your packet. Chair would entertain any corrections or additions. If there are none,
I'll move to approve the minutes as they were presented.
Motion by Erickson. Is there a second?
I'm seconds.
And a second by Syme. Any further discussion? We want roll call on that one too, correct, Dave, in this format?
You are correct. We roll call everything until the state lets us do something otherwise via technology.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Yes, Erickson.
Erickson, yay.
Erickson, aye. Specht.
Aye.
Specht, aye. Syme.
I'm aye.
Syme, aye. Healy.
Healy, aye.
And Vice Chairman Winandy.
Winandy, aye.
Winandy, aye.
Okay, so that's passed. Next item is public appearances or introductions. Dwayne, is there anyone in the meeting room there with you tonight?
We have no one in attendance at the meeting room tonight.
All right, very good.
We have no comments on YouTube at this point.
Okay, we will continue forward then. No consent items or old business tonight, so we will jump into item number 1 under new business. which is an alley right-of-way vacation request in Block 2, Redmond subdivision in the city of Yankton, South Dakota. Location is the north-south alley between 8th Street and 9th Street, between Dakota Street and Redmond Street. Yankton Medical Clinic is the applicant and adjacent property owner. Dave, any comments in addition to the information in the packet this evening?
Yeah, if I may just take a minute or two to emphasize what we're thinking about when we're talking about right-of-way vacations. And for those of you that have been on the Planning Commission for a longer period of time, you'll realize and remember that we're extremely conservative when we consider any vacation or right-of-way. We end up with several of these types of requests a year, and usually they don't even get to this point because at the staff level, we tell applicants it's not a very good idea, not very likely, because many times there's utilities already in the right-of-way. Either that, or we also go through another process where we contact all the utility companies and ask them about the request. And many times one or more of those utility companies will have a reason that we shouldn't be talking about vacating right-of-way. The other thing we think about when we consider a right-of-way vacation is the future, which is something none of us really knows, you know, in a very detailed level, you know, out 20, 50 years. So the default is generally not to consider vacating any right-of-way, even if it appears you don't need it right now. I said all that, and then I'm going to go on to say in this instance, there are at least 4 factors that have gotten us to this point where this is, I'm not going to call anything unique, but this is one of those instances where it appears it's maybe appropriate to consider vacating the alley right away. There's no through utilities in this right away. Even more importantly, there's no alley connection in the blocks to the north or south, so it's very unlikely that there would ever be any right-of-way dedications north or south of this location. So there won't be any transportation corridor needs or trunk line infrastructure needs here. They could be a half a block east or west pretty easy. There's no other alleys in the surrounding neighborhood within 6 blocks probably, if you look at the area. And the entire block is owned by one owner, which is kind of a big deal when you think about these things. So there's really only one applicant. Typically when you see vacation requests, there's multiple applicants or petitioners to get to this point. And another thing is we don't maintain it, nor have we ever maintained this alley right-of-way corridor. If you're on site, you don't even recognize it as an alley. It looks like a piece of Yankton Medical Clinic's parking lot. And so with all that being said, staff is going to recommend approval, or more specifically saying no objection to an alley right-of-way vacation in Block 2 Redmonds. And I'd be happy to try and answer any questions, excuse me.
Before we move on to questions for staff, I see we did have someone else join the meeting.
Yeah, I joined late there. Sorry about that.
No problem. Hello, Mark. With that, any questions for staff regarding the right-of-way vacation?
I do have one, Brad, for Dave. When you're on the south end of that alley, right where the 52 symbol is, I'm going to assume at this time, being that the number of cars that come and go from that location, that would remain open. Or is that up to the clinic to determine that in the future?
If you're talking about the driveway access, that would be able to remain open as a means of access to their parking lot. And so, yes, it would be their decision if they want to close that access point off. It's a good question. I could
I-
see some merit if there was a full block development part of this process. I could see some merit in limiting access onto a state highway.
I bring it up a little bit because just to the right of that, then there's an exit right before the intersection. Then you have the one at the intersection, and then you have the one just a little bit further to the east also that goes under the canopy. And so I think that one where that we originally were talking about ends up being very highly utilized because of the amount of traffic in those other areas. So that was my concern and question.
If we were going to start from scratch, I would say that the furthest east, wider one accessing Highway 52 would be the one we'd probably want to discuss eliminating, just to keep the spacing more functional. And I can definitely bring that up with them as they move on and plans on this site, not as an immediate requirement so much as a long-term goal for access to the site.
I would agree with that.
If I'm remembering things correctly, that driveway where that right of way is currently is a driveway you can use to get into that parking lot. And that wider one that goes onto the highway is not actually a driveway. I don't know if you can enter from there. It seems like you have to enter from Redmond Street otherwise. And that right of way where that alley ends on the Highway 52 there is a very narrow driveway, and you can't, if there's a car waiting to come out there, it's difficult to get another vehicle to come in. It's not a very good driveway for access to the parking lot from my memory of using it.
Dave, I have another question on the other end then. That would remain open as far as we know likewise, correct?
Yeah, the proposal isn't to close street access points, but if that's a discussion or a comment that the planning commission wants to add with an action, that can certainly be forwarded on and be part of the discussion as this moves forward through the city commission.
Thank you.
It seems like the mid-block accesses make the most sense if they're the correct width to be functional, and any quarter block or near access points to intersections would be the ones to try and reduce if we can get there at some point.
And Dave, just to clarify from my standpoint, that what was the Bob's Candy building or structure, the medical clinic now owns that piece as well?
That's correct. They own the entire block.
Any other questions for staff or discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I would
I will
so,
move.
go
Go ahead,
ahead.
Mike. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I would so move the motion as outlined with those additional comments that you had, Dave, as far as at least discussing with them the entrance and exits.
I would second that. This is Warren.
Any further discussion? So we'll be voting on approving the right-of-way vacation. How do you want to phrase that, Dave, with supporting comments on the
Access
approaches?
management. Let's call it access management. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Can I get roll call, please, Brooke?
Specht,
Aye.
Specht, aye. Syme,
Syme, aye.
Syme, aye. Mooney,
Mooney, aye.
Mooney, aye. Healy,
Healy, aye.
Healy, aye. Erickson,
Erickson, aye.
Erickson, aye. And Winandy,
Andy, aye.
Winandy, aye.
So that passes, and we'll go forward to the city commission at this point. We'll move on to new business item number 2, which is a plat review of lots 26, 27, 49, 50, 51, and 52 of Crestview Homes subdivision in the northeast quarter of section 21, township 93 north, range 56 west of the 5th prime meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota. Address both sides of the 300 block of Lilac Lane and the east side of the 300 block of Tulip Lane. Matthew Christensen, managing member, White Crane Estates LLC, is the owner. These look familiar, Dave, but do you have any additional comments tonight on these plats?
I do not have any additional comments other than what's in your packet. It's a grid that was previously identified, so staff recommends approval.
Any questions for staff or commission discussion? Is there a motion on this matter?
Syme, move to approve the plat
Erickson
review.
moves to approve the plat.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Did you get that, Dave?
We did. We have Syme as the motion and Erickson as the second, and Deb is a supportive comment.
All right, any further discussion? I guess I forgot to ask last time, is there anyone in the meeting room to comment on this? Or any YouTube?
We have no
We have
one in it.
nobody on YouTube.
We have no one in attendance at the meeting room.
All right, very good, thank you. Brooke, a roll call on this one, please.
Syme,
Syme, aye.
Syme, aye. Mooney,
Mooney, aye.
Mooney, aye. Healy,
Healy, aye.
Healy, aye. Erickson,
Erickson, aye.
Erickson, aye. Specht,
Aye.
Specht, aye. And Winandy,
Andy, aye.
Winandy, aye.
All right, so that one passes and we'll move forward to the city commission as well. Moving on to item 3. Again, a plat review of lots 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 of Crestview Homes subdivision in the northeast quarter of section 21, township 93 north, range 56 west of the 5th prime meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota. Address is the west side of the 300 block of Hollyhock Lane. Matthew Christensen, managing member, White Crane Estates LLC, is the owner. Again, assume Dave, no comments additionally on this one either.
Correct. Unless there's questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for staff or discussion on this plat?
I would just make a comment that, I think it's taken a little while for this whole development to fill in, but I believe that these would be the last, 10 or 6 and another 6? The last of the lots All of them are, I think, either built on, they are pending, or sold and waiting to be built on. So that area is really taking shape.
Good observation, Deb. Is there a motion on the plat?
Beck, move to approve.
The
I'm
motion from-
second.
Motion from Commissioner Speck, second from Commissioner Syme. Any further discussion? Anyone on YouTube for comments, Dave?
Nobody on YouTube, and I'm not seeing anybody in the meeting room.
Very good. We'll have a roll call, please, Brooke.
Mooney,
Mooney, aye.
Mooney, I. Healy,
Healy, aye.
Healy, I. Erickson,
Erickson, I.
Erickson, I. Specht,
Beck, aye.
Specht, I. Syme,
I'm I.
Syme, I. And Winandy,
Andy, aye.
Winandy, I.
All right, that one passes as well. We can move on to other business, which is the January 2021 building permit report, which again was included in your packet. Anything of note there, Dave?
No, just value-wise, we had a good start to the year. Ahead of last year already, substantially. And then the other thing beyond the building permit report, the memo, I included quite a bit of information about the 2020 census. We've been getting a number of questions about that, so I just thought I'd put that info there for your review, and let me know if you have any questions about that. I'd be happy to try and answer them either now or just call me anytime.
Any thoughts or discussion on either of those topics? Hearing none, it's a brief meeting tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Erickson moves to adjourn the meeting.
Second. Healy,
Motion and a second to adjourn. Roll call, please, Brooke.
Healy,
aye. Healy, aye.
Erickson, sorry, I'm sorry.
Eric,
I apologize. I'll start this over. Erickson, Erickson, I. Specht,
Eric,
You were on mute, Deb.
Beck, aye.
Specht, I. Syme,
I'm I.
Syme, I. Mooney,
Mooney, aye.
Mooney, I. And Winandy,
Andy, aye.
Winandy, I.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks,
great night.
everyone.
Take care.
See ya.